I'm Alex Chappatte. And I'm the founder of a beverage brand, Kenyan Originals. And our mission is basically to create quality food and beverage products that hero the African story. Why don't I give you a little bit of context on the brand and how it came about? Before being in the wonderful world of Kenya, was in West Africa, based out of Ghana, but working for Nestle and a company called Pernod Ricard, where you might know some of their products like Jameson. Funnily enough, we sold a lot of Jameson in West Africa, and it showed me the power of, like, if you get great products and a great brand story, you can sell something even premium in some of these markets. And it was with some of that background that came to Kenya, and when looking at the landscape and saying, okay, what about the choice in food and beverage coming here? For me, there was a real gap in quality food and beverage products. Not only that, but also I was amazed by, and everyone talks about it, but it is very striking, the middle class here. Yes, everyone shows the stats, but you can visually see it when you come from West Africa versus here. So for me, it kind of said, okay, let's look and dive a little bit more into this. I took the first thing that I love, which is going out and drinking. I think there are very few people here, you might not like that. Within that, seeing kind of the Nairobi bar scene, I think what I picked up pretty quickly was that, yeah, you had a lot of local mass market products, low quality. And then you have a lot of imported, expensive brands, which almost double the price back home, wherever they're from, and also often out of stock. So what about that sweet spot in the middle? What about creating a local premium proposition in the alcohol occasion that would really be tailored to local tastes? And so that kind of really was the birth of Kenyan Originals, trying to build, well, not just alcohol brand, but a beverage brand in the alcohol occasion that was a local premium proposition. Culture seemed like an interesting one. I can't claim to be any specialist in the topic, but I think it's quite interesting as a topic for a company like mine, where we're at an inflection point. We are 2 years from being founded, but 1 year from selling. And really it's kind of that foundation and building blocks that a lot of people talk about being really important for later on. But there were a couple of key things that I knew would help to really shape what that culture would look like. And one of those being product, secondly, brand, and thirdly, team. But yeah, so product, like if you're going to create a brand called Kenyan Originals, well, we wanted a truly Kenyan Originals product, and what would that look like? Well, first and foremost, it needed to be made in Kenya. I know that sounds like a given, but it's actually quite hard, it turns out, especially in the alcohol space. So you might be wondering, okay, there's not that much choice in the alcohol space, and there's one big player who has 92% share of market in beer, and it's not driven by the consumer, it's driven by barriers to entry in that market, and it's incredibly hard to set up a manufacturing site here in alcohol. So that was one key thing, made in Kenya. Secondly was raw materials from Kenya. So that is actually something that a lot of our competition don't do. So yes, they're made in Kenya, but Tusker Cider might bring their apples from China. But that was really important to us, and it was trying to figure out, firstly, because actually people's tastes are informed by their, what grows here. So your palate will be defined by what you eat and drink every day. So by taking raw materials that are from here, we were hoping that we'd create products that people liked here. So that was really important to us. The stuff that's amazing here that grows naturally is fruit, and it's exotic fruit. That's why we've got mango, pineapples, limes, passion fruits, all the great things that are blended into our drink. coming up with an innovation is baffling to them if they don't have a spec that is like, this is exactly what it needs to be. And so they were saying like, why real fruit? Just use flavoring. Everyone else uses flavoring. So for us to say, no, we really want to use stuff from here, was new to them and a challenge to get them to kind of approve this product. The third thing that was really important to us on creating a Kenyan original product was just trying to create a variety. So we know that everyone has a different palette of sweetness. And I think, that's something that we're still learning. We're still learning on the palette here and how best to kind of get to grips with that. But the most important thing is that we have sampling and amazing promoters who are back there as well, who have an ear to the ground. And so that's the great thing about being local, is we can hear that story quite quickly and we can react. The second part is brand, and we know that we needed to create a brand that our team and consumer could rally around. Really our most valuable consumer, and that's who we focused on this last year. If you can get those guys to embrace your brand, then many others will embrace it. So we really focused this last year just being in fewer locations but doing them really well, and also events. So we've been at Blankets of Wine and Karoga's, African Nouveau, those kind of places. As I stated before, I'm not a Kenyan original. And I can't really be the one to shape the culture if I'm not Kenyan original. So I need to make sure that I hired a tribe of Kenyan originals that would really be the ones to organically grow it into something that feels authentic rather than me scripting out. But I think that said, there are a couple of guiding principles in terms of that hiring. We haven't quite got it right. Everyone talks about it, hiring over passion versus skill. It's not easy, but yeah, we reward passion. So we've got 2 of our security guards are now our production supervisors. We have one of our original labelers who's now a warehouse manager. So there's a lot of internal promoting, but that said, we've kind of underestimated the value of training and having some smart people with skill as well who can kind of build on those people who are kind of really loyal and want to learn. So it is that mix, and we've kind of brought in a head of commercial recently through a shortlist hire from Heineken who has been really great so far in helping to build some of that kind of core skill set as well. We've also, for example, got a cider maker from the US for the next 6 months who's really going to focus on upskilling the production team. Thirdly and finally, we really kind of focus on giving people the opportunity to showcase the work that they do. So whether it be full team visits to the production place regularly or team nights out in trade so people can show like their new listings or engaging with customers, that's a very important part of team engagement for us. Any questions or contributions to the discussion?
Fact that you're looking for that person who wants to grow. Even when you bring in those expatriates, ensure that the skills are passed on to the Kenyans
100%.
who are around, because that will breed the generation that we need tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I'm a HR professional.
Are you hiring from the middle class as well?
So I think there's a real mix, but we focused on making sure that we have people who are the target audience in the sales team. Outside of that, not really.
So why Kenya?
Kenya's really interesting because you've got West Africa where there's like a very strong look and feel and identity, and here I'm not saying there isn't, there's a lot of that, but I feel like there's from a brand point of view, there's a lot of opportunity to showcase some of that isn't really kind of rising to the front. In terms of richness of what you can find here, you can pretty much find everything other than apples, but you can pretty much find anything and grow anything, and that makes it an awesome place from a product development. Yeah, that's what makes this place special, other than the fact that it's the most beautiful country and I really want to stay here forever.
What's your most successful marketing strategy?
One is working with these influencers who aren't really influencers, they're micro-influencers, they're people who people look up to within their sphere of creativity. So them heroing our brand has really helped us. And secondly has just been really basic bread and butter stuff, which is we are a new product. So doing trial, but doing over and over again and everywhere, but consistently, and having a smiling promoter. Like it's the face of your brand is what a lot of people will come and see. And so you just need them someone to smile. And that's the first and foremost, most important thing that we've worked on the marketing strategy, and we'll continue. It'll be 80% of our spend will go towards that.
How have you been able to nurture the talent that you have, the original Kenyan talent?
As an example, like the security guards, that was right at the beginning when I was the only person making the product. He was like, please help me. I've got mango in the hair, I've got everything, something's exploded, please help me. And then just like, you know, a generous spirit and people really wanting to help and really wanting to get stuck in. But nurturing that talent really came from kind of hiring a good production manager who is disciplined and has time to take people through the same thing over again. Production is all about precision. And with the sales team, it's been a bit of a mixture of kind of giving them the ownership to really feel like they've got the opportunity to own and get these accounts themselves. Yeah, it's been lovely chatting to you guys.